On the 4th of July, when I was 16 years old, I decided to hang with my friend, Stacy. We figured that we would break into the abandoned school building in the area that most teens used as a hangout spot. We've never run into anyone else there, but Stacy was a bit worried that being the 4th of July, a lot of people would have broken into the school. Like normal, we snuck through an opening in the fence and went behind the building and through the broken door. We found a room and we began smoking and drinking a little. We weren't too far away from the fireworks display and could hear them going off, which was nice. After a short while, Stacy gave me a really weird look. She asked me if I heard anything. I told her that I could hear the fireworks, and she shook her head and told me that she heard something from inside the building. I thought maybe she just enjoyed the weed a little too much, but she insisted that she heard something in another room. I told her it was probably just more kids hanging out, so she decided we should go and look for them, figuring we could all hang out together. We were walking down the hall, and I still hadn't heard anything. Stacy told me again that she kept hearing noises. I started to think that maybe she was messing with me or trying to scare me or something like that. But then I heard something. It was a firecracker. It had to be. I may have even heard it before, but mistook it for the fireworks going on outside. Eventually, we found the room. There was an open doorway with a little bit of light coming from it. Stacy told me she'd offer them some weed so they didn't think that we would tell on them or anything like that. And we went to introduce ourselves. But when we got to the doorway, we froze. There were two guys in the room, dressed as clowns. We had both been seeing so many videos of people dressed and masked as clowns doing weird, strange, and dangerous things. One of the guys in the room was sitting on the floor with a bunch of firecrackers in his hand. The other was standing up and facing the door. We were frozen, terrified. The clown standing up had a huge sparkler in his hand, and he used it to write the word "hi" in the air as a slow and creepy smile lit his face. The other clown quickly lit a firecracker and threw it at us. We turned around and ran out, terrified of what we saw and what might happen if we stayed. We fled from the building with only one glance back to see if the clowns were chasing us. We didn't see them. We didn't know if we were in immediate danger, but we did not stick around to find out. When I was 17 years old, my parents were out of town, and I was home alone for 4th of July. My neighbors usually pop fireworks all day and night. Most people sit on the porch or stand out in the street to watch. I wasn't in the mood, and decided to stay in the house to rest and watch television instead. Although it was difficult to do either with all the loud noise coming from outside. An hour into nightfall, it was even louder. The fireworks were still going on. As I was sitting in the living room, I heard an extremely loud noise inside of my house, in the basement. We had one of those basements that was not completely underground and sat on the side of a hill. I thought someone lit a firework too close to my house, and it ended up breaking the window to the basement and getting inside. Worried that the house might catch on fire, I got up and ran to get our fire extinguisher. I grabbed it and raced over to the basement door. I ran down the stairs to our fully furnished basement, and I didn't see a fire. With a sigh of relief, I flipped on the light and almost fell over when I saw someone standing there. There was a broken window, and a man was over by my dad's bar, and he was grabbing bottles of liquor and putting them in a bag. He noticed when I turned the light on, of course, and was staring straight at me. I didn't know exactly what to do, but he didn't have that problem. He came towards me, brandishing one of the bottles. Even though I was hesitant and he was bigger than me, I remembered that I brought a fire extinguisher down with me. Acting through what seemed like impulse, I pulled the lever and sprayed the guy with the hose. It stopped him and nearly knocked him off his feet, which gave me time to run. I ran up the stairs, closed and locked the basement door, and then immediately called the police, telling them that someone had broken in. They came quickly, but the guy was long gone by that point. He'd managed to steal several bottles of alcohol. The police took my statement and dusted for prints, but they never caught him. When I was in junior high school, I had problems with a bully named Reese. I never knew exactly why she picked on me. For some reason, this girl just really didn't like me. She was much bigger than I was, so even when she tried to get me to fight her, I avoided it. But Reese was cruel. One day at school, she had her friends pin me face down on the bathroom floor as she squeezed a ketchup bottle onto the back of my pants and smeared it on me. Then she shoved me into the hallway so that everyone could see the back of my pants. I was humiliated. Everyone made fun of me, except for one nice girl who tried to offer me a tampon. So when the summer finally came around, I was relieved. I knew I wouldn't have to see her for a while. That summer, I played softball on a local league. We had a game on the 4th of July, and our coach took us out for pizza and then to see fireworks after the game. As I was sitting there, waiting for the show to begin, I noticed Reese and some of her friends, the ones who had held me down in the bathroom that day. They were coming in our general direction. We were all still in our softball uniforms, so I tried to pull my cap down to hide. I didn't think Reese would do anything, especially since I was there with all my team members and coaches. But still, I didn't want to be seen. But she did notice me. She looked right at me. She then elbowed her friends and motioned over towards me, and they all laughed. They walked by, really close. She kept trying to make eye contact with me, but I did everything to avoid her, and they didn't give me any problems. Still, I was unsettled for a while, but when the fireworks started up, I forgot about her. It was an amazing display, and I always found fireworks to be fascinating. Towards the end, as usual, there were a few minutes of constant fireworks. It was loud and pretty amazing. Many of us were standing up during this part. Suddenly, I was pushed in the back. I didn't fall over, though, because it wasn't that forceful. However, when I turned around, I saw Reese and her friends standing there. Suddenly, my face got hit with a lot of light and heat and pain. Everything happened so quickly, and I had to close my eyes because of the agonizing pain. I couldn't see what was happening, but was informed that Reese had lit a Roman candle and sprayed it right into my face and then took off running. Our head coach ran and grabbed Reese and told the assistant coach to go get park security. My teammates grabbed me and tried to see if I was okay. Fortunately, I had closed my eyes quickly enough that there was no permanent damage to them. I had some minor burns on my face and still carry tiny scars, but it could have been worse. Reese spent some time in a juvenile detention center, but I don't think it did any good. She was still just as vicious and cruel when she was released.